Stop.
Good Monday morning. Yo, Tombarinos. Thomas and Haley here, and please subscribe to the Burpees channel. What? Anyway, Thomas and Haley here, and this is
gross because I had a little aftertaste after that.
Yeah. So Thomas and Haley here, and Chris, and
No, anytime yet. Oh, okay. I heard you move the crutch.
the hell.
Okay.
Anyway, Thomas, Haley, and Chris here, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about Haley, about how she became blind and how that changed her life. And I was just I thought of this. I think I thought of this topic on Saturday night. I texted her. I'm like, hey, I just thought like, do you want to do a video talking about how you became blind? And she was all for it. So
Hey, why not?
So all right. So Chris, before we get into this, would you like to greet the YouTuberinos, my friend?
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing today?
All right.
First, I gotta go to work today.
Well, I hope you have a great day at work.
It's also gonna be hot today too.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
It's not a fan of that.
It's gonna be hot here, really hot here today too. But I'm not complaining.
If you don't have to go out in it, we don't have to.
Right.
It's gonna be 97 here today. But hey,
it's gonna be 96 over here, so pretty close.
But hey, I'd rather it be 97 than 21 degrees, because you know what I'm doing when it's 21 degrees? I'm under my covers. Anyway.
I don't blame you.
So
I don't blame them either. Shucks.
So, let's get to the topic at hand here. So, you want to tell these wonderful people how you became blind? I'm doing everything blind. Anyway.
Yes. Well, I'm telling you guys this story of me going blind. We're also doing everything blind. No, I'm kidding. No, we're not. If anyone can do everything, then that'd be impressive. But I think no one can do that but God himself. Anyway. So, of course, one of the common questions I get all the time, were you born blind? The answer is no. I went blind in the summer of 2008. It was in June. No one in my family, including myself, no one remembers what date it was. So just to make it easier for a reference, every year it's June 1st, it's another full year of me being blind, because mathematically that makes sense to me. Without getting in too much details, I'll just say it where it won't sound very disturbing to people. When I was, I think it happened around, I started either late February or early March or so, because around that time I was having pains everywhere in my body. So, like your average headache, but 10 times worse. That same amount of pain in the back and the legs.
Wow.
From that time up until June, I was not able to walk for that amount of time, so roughly 3 months or so.
Okay.
And for what I can remember, I also had a fever, and I was also throwing up every day.
Oh, my.
Now, well, I'm trying to say I'm not going to make this disturbing, but sorry if it is. But while all that was happening, I could see. I could still see. I mean, I was wearing reading glasses because, my parents were wearing reading glasses, and that's pretty much what I wore.
Okay.
And I was still playing soccer and doing taekwondo and all those things.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I could not do those things anymore because I went blind. And the taekwondo teacher, he no longer knew how to teach me, which was kind of disappointing because I really enjoyed it. So There was that. So I had to go to 3 different hospitals because I guess at each one, I guess they couldn't figure out what's wrong with me, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So the first one, we went by ambulance. The second one, we went by helicopter, which was kind of cool. Only thing is I don't have much memory of the helicopter ride itself, but just the fact it sounds cool. And then of course the third hospital we went to, my parents drove me there. And around sometime in June of 2008, I just remember waking up in the hospital room, and I think in the back of my mind I'm having a nightmare of some sort, because I'm like, I can't see anything. Like, what's going on? Maybe I'm having a nightmare. Let me go back to sleep.
I couldn't imagine how what was going through your mind at that point.
It happened so fast. It was quite terrifying. So I go back to sleep thinking it's a nightmare to brush it off. And maybe about 30 minutes to an hour or so, maybe. Wake up again, it's still the same thing. Of course, the nurse, doctor, they come in like they normally do to see how you are, to help you get food or whatever they were doing. And I was fair to say I was freaking out. I told them I couldn't see anything.
Right.
And they were happy I was walking again and all those things, but I told them I couldn't see anything. So they take me to this room where they hook up a bunch of cables to me, which it was an interesting few minutes, I guess, to look inside the body or some sort. And according to them, she can see, she just doesn't think she can. My parents were livid, to say the least.
What a stupid thing to say.
That's what they said.
Very dumb.
They said about an 8.5-year-old child, she can see, she just doesn't think she can.
What a stupid
really?
thing to say. Very dumb. Very dumb.
What? Because let me ask you two in the world at large with this question. Why would an 8.5-year-old child would want to pretend to not see?
That's a really stupid thing to say.
Why?
Yeah,
what reason would an 8-year-old kid have to go, oh yeah, let me pretend to be blind? Yes.
I mean, for those of you who are watching this who are fully sighted, let's set the scene here. You're fully sighted, and then one morning you wake up and your vision is gone, completely gone.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No light, no shadow, color, nothing.
That's a scary thing, a very scary thing. So, how did your parents take your blindness? Were they upset emotionally?
Well, they were more peed-oed at the damn doctors for accusing me of making it up. They were terrified for me, of course, because they didn't expect that.
I asked this question because there are some parents out there who really take their kids' blindness really hard, understandably. So that's why I was asking.
Well, I don't remember the exact whole emotional aspect, but I'm pretty sure they were over the top upset because why wouldn't you? So, of course, after that, at this point in time, we don't know what my eye condition is because they obviously, the only thing we got for the doctor is they said I had conversion disorder. Basically, if no one knows what that is, it basically means it's like this person who's the subject, which would be me in this case, is basically pretending to have a condition that I really don't.
Yeah. Now,
which is obviously not true, obviously. So.
Now, please, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say that you, correct me if I'm wrong, but have a traumatic brain injury from from getting dropped?
That was 2 months old. That was only when I was 2 months old. That has nothing to do with me being blind.
No, I know that.
Nothing.
I know that, but I was just curious about that.
Yeah, that information is accurate, but yeah. I've been asked before with that too. Does that have anything to do with you being blind? No, it does not.
Okay.
That happened when I was 2 months old. I went blind when I was 8.5. Do you really think that has something to do with
but I was
each other?
just asking. I wanted to make sure I was getting my facts straight. But okay, so
yes,
and that's why, and that's why you have and why do you have a shunt?
It's for what you just said. It was from. I have 2 of them. It was. I guess. My guess is, again, this was 2 months old, and I don't really feel like asking about this much anymore, because why do I need to? But basically, I guess my head hit the surface so hard, I guess there was so much fluid in the brain, I guess, they had to put 2 shunts in.
Okay.
Is my guess.
Gotcha. So, how did you learn how to use the iPhone, the computer, and all that?
Well, before those days, before that part came up, because that was in my teenage years, I had to learn how to, of course, read and write again. So that was when the days of Braille came in the 4th grade. I got my first cane and learned how to read Braille.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool, actually. So for anyone, which a lot of sighted people, they know what Braille is, but for people who don't, it's basically raised dots.
Right.
Made out of a 6-dotted cell, and of course you can use not all the dots, but even one dot to make a letter or
Yeah.
a couple dots to make a contraction or whatever. So
Yep.
if you want to learn Braille, hey, it's fun. I think it's cool. And even though I don't use Braille that much anymore because everything's like on computers and whatnot, I still remember the Braille. I still do. So like with my, of course, without saying my debit card information, I'm just gonna say this fact. Obviously, they have no Braille debit cards at any bank, it seems, which to me is stupid. So,
Yeah, it's dumb.
and I wanted to know my own debit card number. So, of course, I would have someone who was sighted, who I would trust, to read it, and I would use this Braille labeler I got to write the numbers.
Yeah.
And for people who think, oh, if you have Braille labels on your debit card, will the card still work? Because I thought it wouldn't work. Well, it will. It doesn't block the chip or nothing. So,
Right.
yeah, it works.
Right.
And I think it's cool. The only number that's not Braille is the CVC, like free digit code or whatever, because that's easy to remember.
How
And
long-
the expiration date's easy to remember, too.
How long did it take you to adjust to being blind?
It took a bit because from the third, like I said, with the third grade, I was not able to do anything. I had to have like someone like write my answers down, help me fill out, assignments and everything else. But between fourth grade and middle school, I would say by that point in time, somewhere between there, I was used to it at that point because I'm like, well, as far as I'm concerned, whatever I have, because at this point in time I still didn't know, whatever I have, there's no cure for what it seems. But, well, my life's not over, so I'll make the best with what I get.
And now I guess we'll fast forward here. We'll get our little time machines here. No. I wanted, if you don't mind, I wanted to ask you what your, because obviously this, question falls into, your experiences of being blind. Do you want to tell them what your experiences were like at GMS?
The good old Governor Moorhead School for the Blind. Fun little backstory for you with that school. It actually opened up back in the right before the mid 1800s. So the school's very old. So it's been around forever. So if you think, oh, is it a new blind school? The answer is no. It's been around forever. But I was there from Monday, November 7th, 2011, until Friday, June 8th of 2018, because that's when I graduated.
You have a great memory.
What dates I do, but anything else, no. Which is very odd. But between that time, I was still using Braille. Of course, we were in computer classes, learning how to use JAWS, the screen reader. I didn't learn to use NVDA till in my 20s or so, because that's when I got introduced to it. But it's the same thing, really. You just don't got to pay for it. Anyway, so while I was at GMS, I was learning how to use JAWS. I was in the band, the choir. We had a theater club one year.
Oh, wow.
And I was also in sports. I was a very active person, and I was also in the student body president too,
now,
and vice president and some others.
Were you ever homesick, or were you always enjoyed
No.
your time there?
Surprisingly, no. I was the type of kid where I wanted to move. I wanted to do stuff. Yeah, no. I mean, we went home on the weekends, so it's not like we were never home.
Right. Now,
And then, of course, for Thanksgiving, we had a week off, and Christmas, it was like 2 weeks. So.
right. Now, did you teach yourself how to play the keyboard, or did you take lessons? Because, as you know, I'm self-taught, so I'm just wondering.
Well, of course, before the keyboard days, I was in the regular band stuff, playing like the clarinet, the saxophone 1 year, and all that. However, in my ninth grade year of high school, during the spring semester, so that was like January through May of 2015, I believe, that was when I was taking piano lessons by the band teacher. And the 3 songs I learned from the lessons, he said I could play 2 of them in the spring concert. I was like, hey, that sounds cool. Mm-hmm. So, and there's actually a video on the platform, social media platform, Facebook, where there was actually a video of me doing it. So It was pretty cool. For the sighted people, if you go on Facebook, if you find this video, you'll have a little chuckle, because when I tried to stand up to bow, I was bowing sideways apparently. So it's so basically to give you and Chris and everyone else a little visual here. So I stood up from the piano. I'm supposed to be standing to the right of the piano, so it's my right, your guys' left. And I'm supposed to, lean forward, to bow, right? Because that's how you do a bow.
Right.
Apparently, I was bowing sideways. So instead of bowing directly straight forward, I was bowing to the right, apparently. I was like, whoops, oh well. So, of course, after that, the teacher guided me back up to the the stage. I think at that point, that was when the band was getting ready to play or something like that. So yeah, that was fun. And within that same year, I got my first keyboard for Christmas.
Wow.
Except for the way it sounded, you would think it sounds like a kid version of a keyboard because it doesn't sound like a real keyboard. But that's what I had, and I was playing that all the time because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And throughout high school, I was writing my own songs with the keyboards because why not? Mm-hmm. And roughly around 2019 or so, I got the keyboard that I have now, which is one with weighted keys on it, which make it sounds like, hey, that sounds like a real piano to me. I was like, well, it does sound like that, but it's not. It's just a keyboard, but it sounds way better. So
yeah. Now I will ask this question because my sighted subscribers might be wondering how you do this. So I will ask this. I will ask this question for my sighted subscribers. How do you use your phone?
Oh God. Another one of my frequently asked questions.
I already know the answer, but I'm asking.
I know you do.
Subscribers.
No, I know. That's sometimes I just make a little frequently asked questions list in my mind. Like, what question do I get asked the most? Which is fine if someone does ask multiple times from different people because they don't know that someone else asked this question. But on the iPhone, I use what is called VoiceOver, which is the built-in screenreader on every iPhone there is. And with sighted people, they just tap the phone, tap, tap, tap. But with us, we have to swipe left and right, up and down, and then double tap with one finger, and a whole bunch of finger gestures, basically. And, of course, you can adjust the speed of the VoiceOver to your liking. Mm-hmm. Mine's at 90%. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will go, how do you understand that?
That's way too fast for my brain.
It's years of practice in my case because when I had my iPhone 4S, my very first iPhone.
Oh, that was my very first iPhone.
It was.
Oh my God, what a piece of shit
the speaking rate was at 30. So God. Which at that time, 30% was not that slow. Surprisingly, it really wasn't.
My first ever iPhone was the iPhone 4S. September of 2015, I had the iPhone 4S. That was my first iPhone, and it was slow as fuck. But anyway.
By that time it was, because by the time I had the 4S, that was 2011 and 2012 or 2012, 2013. So
and you're older. I know we're kind of getting off topic for a little bit, but your older videos, the audio is really great.
That's because I had It was either the 4S or the 5C at the time. Because actually, my first video was 2015, so that was either the 5C or the 6S, one of the two.
Yeah. So, question.
You could ask me anything, people. Anything.
Okay.
If I don't have the answer, then I can't give it to you.
Okay. Do you think you'll ever win the lottery? No, I'm kidding.
Shoot, I wish. Maybe. I don't know.
If you had, let's say if, there's a subscriber who's watching right now who maybe is new to being blind or visually impaired, do you have, any advice for them? Any words of wisdom? Yeah.
Oh, before I answer that, I just want to let you know, Thomas, I don't want to send the video already, just let you know, because there's other things I want to bring up. But in that case, it doesn't matter if you're elementary age, middle school age, high school age, or even an adult, or even when you're about to retire or whatever. If you think your life is going to be over at that point, it's not. Mm-mm. Your world's going to be pretty much the same than anybody else. You just might have to do minor adjustments to certain things. Like for instance, with people using the iPhone, they just, can you hear that, Thomas? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just tap, tap, tap. We have to swipe and double tap and
Right.
do a bunch of gestures to open and close apps and everything else.
And there are plenty of resources and help, and there's plenty of help and training available.
Oh yeah. So if you think you're alone, you're not. Because there's people that are there's people that went to school to be trained for stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need training on independent living skills, there's programs for it.
Right.
If you need training on technology because you might have been sighted for a majority of your life, let's just say if you're in your your 60s and you still want to use a computer, but I'm blind, like I don't know how to use a computer anymore.
Right.
You could be taught JAWS, NVDA, or to me, Narrator's a piece of garbage, in my opinion. I don't like Narrator, but...
And all these programs,
yeah.
like JAWS and Narrator, these are all computer programs, not, so like...
They're screen readers, yes, but depends on what they are, you have to download them. Now, depends on which one it is. Majority of them, they're free, majority. JAWS is not free, it never was, which to me is ridiculous, but...
And like if you decide, okay, I'm blind or I'm visually impaired now, I'm going to get an iPhone... you might be nervous maybe to learn you might be nervous at first, because I know it's a lot. But, once you get the feel of it, it might take you a little time it might take you a little time to learn how to use it, but just be patient and, eventually, you might be a whiz at it. So it just takes patience to learn how to use it. But
Chuck, there's probably some commands or gestures to the iPhone. There might be some that Thomas and I even don't know. There's majority of them I do know, but there might be some that were like, wait, you can do that with the iPhone with VoiceOver? I didn't know that. You're learning about it every day.
It just takes patience. You're not going to learn how to use it overnight. It just takes patience. So just be patient.
Patience, yes, it takes patience, babe. He said it takes patience. It takes patience. I'm gonna use that too. Like patience is a virtue. Don't you mean patience is a virtue? I'm like, well, my good old friend one day he stumbled and said, patience is a virtue. No.
But it just takes patience to learn how to use it. And there are people who can train you on how to use the iPhone. So yeah.
Well, yes, good old Apple. Another thing I've been asked before. This is actually not that long ago, between 2022 and 2024, really. I got accepted to a 4-year school to transfer to for my last 2.5 years of college, and I've been asked all the time, how do you get around the campus? How do you use the computer? Why do you use headphones with the computer? Because I wear headphones in class. I mean, does the professor want to hear my screen reader? No. Does the students want to hear my screen reader? I would think not. So that's the reason why I have the headphones in. And people would think I'm just listening to music, not paying attention to the professor. I'm like, no, I'm not that careless. Unfortunately, though, for me, majority of the clubs, pretty much all of them, at the college I went to, they were all visual. Isn't that lovely? So anything of the clubs of some sort I could not do because they were visual. However, I did make myself at home because in the dormitories there was a piano.
Right. Yep.
Unfortunately, though, towards the end of my time, yes, that was beautiful. Towards the end of my time there, the piano in my dormitory sounded horrible. I was like, ugh. However, in the spring of 2024, in the back of the cafeteria, I was like, where's that music coming from? And it was literally a piano in the back of the building. So I was like, ooh, and it sounded lovely.
I like that piano. That piano sounded good.
Despite how many students were using it, you would have thought it would have went out of tune fairly quickly, but it did not.
Actually, now that I come to think of it, I don't know if I heard that piano.
The video that I posted on my YouTube, which anyone can check this out if they want to. Yeah. It's the video that's called "Why" by Townsend HV. That's the song that I wrote myself.
Yeah.
I was using that exact piano.
Oh, okay.
So any little noises you hear in the background is probably someone coming out from an office or students walking by because they're leaving the building. That's basically what that is. But that couldn't be helped. But yeah, I was using it because I was like, before I graduate, I'm going to record this song, but I want a piano that actually sounds good.
Yeah.
And that works properly.
Right.
And that was the only one that was the case. And I'm like, I'm going to wait till it's, a little bit quieter around that time to do that, so there's not many side conversations in my background.
Yep.
So that's what that video is, and I think it sounds great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I said I was determined to record that before I graduated, and the next day I graduated. So,
wow.
So for anyone who is around my age and is thinking, "Oh, I'm blind. Like I'm not gonna be able to go to college or get my dream job or whatever," that is totally not true.
It's a flat out lie.
It's a flat out lie, as my fiance would say. But what I want anyone who is planning to go to college, if you're blind or even visually impaired like Chris, it is possible for you. It's not impossible to you.
You can do anything you put your mind to.
Yes, country boy. You can. I couldn't pass with that joke. When you can major or minor anything you want to, you can have any career that you want to. The part that someone else has to do is be willing to accommodate you.
Right.
If they say they can't accommodate you, you can get the America's Disability Act involved. Which
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to
preferably not to, but yeah.
I thought you were going to say the American flag.
Anyway. No, the America's Disabilities Act or something like that, the ADA. You don't want to go that far, but if you're doing everything you can with the potential employer to, get them to accommodate you and all these things because you have all the qualifications like a sighted person, and if they flat out refuse to, then you can get them involved, which no one ever wants to do that, but you kind of have to if you get stubborn people.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know why I thought you were going to say the American flag.
Yes, get the American flag involved too. Just wave it around, going, "We can do anything we put our minds to." No, that's not part of that. But at the end of the day, what doesn't matter when you go blind or visually impaired, you can still do anything like anybody else who's sighted can.
Like I said, you can put do anything you put your mind to.
You can do everything blind. No.
Right. I'm doing everything blind and with doing everything blind.
Literally, yes. But regardless, even if you're blind or visually impaired, you're still you. You're still have a purpose in this world. Because some people, they think when they go blind or visually impaired, they think, why is life happening right now? It's because God puts you here for a reason, and things happen for a reason. Why'd I go blind? I still don't know.
Understandably, when people go, blind or when they lose their, sight and become visually impaired, understandably they get depressed.
They do, which I've been asked about that before too. Did I become depressed because I was only 8.5 years old, almost 9? You would have thought I would, but I did not. I was skeptical, like, how am I going to do things? But that's all it was.
Yeah.
And I want to, and Thomas, I want to bring the most important fact in this little video real quick. 10 years, listen to this number, 10 years after I went blind, I finally got the answer of what my condition is, because anyone would ask me, what's your eye condition? Fortunately, I don't know. I do now. It's a condition called optic nerve atrophy, or however the heck you pronounce the damn term. Yeah, atrophy.
Wow.
And that was discovered when I had to get to me, going to the eye doctor is pointless if you can't see. That's just my opinion.
Right, yeah.
But to me, it's pointless. However,
I agree.
However, I had no choice because I was getting Social Security benefits under my name.
Yeah.
And they needed proof that I was blind, yada, 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 because a lot of people, they play the system.
Right.
So, which unfortunately is true. So, me and my mom, we go to this eye doctor. He does everything he needs to do. And he says, I know what she has, but unfortunately, I don't know how it happened. So I said, that's okay. I just want to know.
Right.
So he said, fee, babe? Atrophy? Yeah, optic nerve atrophy. Yeah. He says, fortunately, I don't know what happened. So I said, I just want to know what it is. Okay. And then he said, that's what I had.
But see, how did he My question is, how did you know that's what you had?
But what
I don't know. That's just, I guess, just based on the findings he had. That's what he came to, and I looked it up, and I was like, huh, okay.
But what will forever, if I can talk this morning, that'd be great. What will forever be a mystery is why, one day you had sight, and then the next morning, boop, you wake up completely blind. So that will forever be a mystery, I guess.
Now, I did tell Chris this fun little hope in my mind. Even if I'm in my 60s, and if I'm like fully sighted again, I told him I would practice and basically take a driver's test. That's what I said. If I do become fully sighted and it turns out it's enough to drive, I will literally take my driving test the same day. That's literally what I said. That would be nice. But
I'm in my 60s and I'm fully sighted again.
I'm 65 and looky here, I can drive now. I sound like that at 65.
My name is Grandma Betsy from Dabble.
Anyway. Betsy Smith from Dabble. but no.
Well,
no, but yeah, that's basically my little hope one day is if somehow I do see again, and if it's enough to drive, that's pretty much what I'll do. Well, and I'll probably buy a lottery ticket.
There you go. Why not? I'm glad that we did this video, and I'm glad I came up with this idea. I'm glad I came up with the idea to talk about this with you. This was definitely a great video.
Which, by the way, for anyone who listens to this video, if there's a question that you want to ask, you can just put it in the comments, and of course Thomas can let me know about it, so we can do, I guess, like an update video or something to answer them.
And if anybody wants to be on my channel, you can get in touch with me two ways. You can either email me at thomas.meg1991@icloud.com, or you can try to find me, on Messenger by just typing in my first and last name, ThomasAcocella. If you want to be on my channel, if you want to tell your story, or if you just want to shoot the shit, do a Shooting the Breeze video, or if you want to be in a Chug video, drop me a line. Let me know. But yes, if you have any questions for Hailey, leave them in the comments down below. Okay, what were you gonna say now?
Stay tuned for the Thomas and Hailey show on Sundays, unless if any random schedule changes happen, which we apologize to not tell you guys about that. But
No, we're good for Sunday.
So yeah. But normally it's on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's pretty much when we record. So then, of course, it'll get posted sometime after that.
And guys, make sure you subscribe to these wonderful people's channels. Talented HV and Low Vision Technology, LVT. Come on, man. Let's show them some love and support.
Remember, guys, everyone has a talent. Any type of skills of talent.
Yep, and please subscribe to my channel. Doing Everything Blind. Y'all take care.